spotlight on aerospace manufacturing startup Jeh Aerospace, which is reaching new heights quite literally and financially. In fact, the company has just secured $11 million in Series A funding. It was led by Elevation Capital. There was also participation from General Catalyst as well. The startup was founded in 2022, quite recently, by industry veterans Vishal R. Sanghvi and Venkatesh Mudragala. Jeh Aerospace, remember, it specializes, as you can see on our television screens, in aero engines and aerostructures. And of course, serving government defense agencies, it's serving commercial aircraft manufacturers and even space exploration players. And in just about 18 months, it has delivered over 1 lakh flight critical components and secured $100 million in client contracts. Now, with operations spanning the United States and India, where will the company use its fresh capital and how will it be deployed? We discuss that and more with Vishal R. Sanghvi, the founder and CEO at Jeh Aerospace. Thank you very much, Mr. Sanghvi, for joining us here on ET Now. Your company has just secured $11 million in a Series A round. It was led by Elevation Capital. There was participation from General Catalyst, like I stated. How do you plan to utilize this capital to scale up your operations?
Thanks for having me here. So we, as you rightly said, recently raised $11 million as our Series A funding from Elevation and General Catalyst. The intention in the last 12 months we have grown really fast, right? We have already grown to 100 people. We have, started delivering critical aerospace components to our customers, have delivered 100,000 of them by now. So now we are in a very strong growth phase and we need to invest this money in order for our capability and capacity expansion. So that's what we intend to do. So in terms of the facility footprint, in terms of number of machines, in terms of building a team both in US and India, and also double down on the digital technology that we have significantly already invested in. So those were the places where we would be investing this Series A funding.
Right, Mr. Sanghvi. Now, this space of aerospace manufacturing has largely been dominated by established players for a very long period of time. So what are investors essentially looking for whenever they look at investing into startups in this space?
So one, they of course look for the kind of traction you are able to get and then what's the customer feedback. So if you see, you can answer it in two places. One, at the macro level, I think the investors today have started understanding, especially after COVID, the importance of investing in hardware, the importance with investing in manufacturing and supply chains. So there is a macro shift over there where the VCs and the investment community have started seeing the value of it. Now, at the specific startup level, of course, the traction is the most important thing. That what are you able to show as real progress? Are you able to capture customers? Are you able to deliver components? Are you able to deliver them at the quality and the time standards that are needed in this business? So those are the things that the VCs look at. That, and of course, in our case, when we started out in seed round, just the quality of the founder and the founder industry fit is what they look at. So a lot of those things probably went right for us, which has kind of significantly increased the investor confidence in us in specific and industry in general.
Right, Mr. Sanghvi, but you do have operations both in the United States and in India, like I mentioned earlier. So how does Jeh Aerospace navigate the complexities of cross-border manufacturing and logistics?
So if I take you back to our past experience between I and my co-founder Venki, we had led some very large setup and led some very large JVs like the Tata Boeing joint venture, the Tata Sikorsky joint venture, the Tata Lockheed Martin joint venture. All of these were 100% exports. All of these were for global demand. And we used to ship parts all the time to US, so to say. So in that way, Jeh Aerospace is at this point in time 100% export business as we speak. And it's the same things that are needed there, in terms of customs, in terms of logistics, in terms of if there are defense businesses, there are certain licenses that are needed, there are certain customer approvals. But again, as founders, we are aware of what goes into it. And then, we've been compliant at every step of the way.
Right. Mr. Sanghvi, just one final question before we let you go. Now, looking ahead, and what are Jeh Aerospace's strategic priorities over the next 3 to 5 years, and how do you plan to achieve those priorities that you have for the company?
So we believe in focus. We believe that as a startup, you can't do everything. You need to pick and be very intentional in terms of what areas you want to pick. So if you see, there are a few things that we have done. One, in terms of the product category mix, we are focused on metallic products that goes into aero engines and aero structures. The reason being that we have done this with our hands, we understand it in our bones based on our last 2 decades of experience working with some of the largest OEMs. So that's the focus on the product. If you see in terms of the customer focus, when we were back in Tata's, we in a way unlocked the India's potential for these large OEMs, the Lockheed, the Boeing, the Sikorsky, the GE. As Jeh Aerospace, we now want to unlock the India's potential for the tier 1 and tier 2 manufacturers. And that's what we are doing very well. And that's where we are focused, because the tier 1 and tier 2 manufacturers amongst themselves make 60 to 70% of the value addition when it comes to this industry. So those are the people in terms of where our customer focus is. And then last but not the least, if you see the geography focus, we are focused on US as the geography. That's the largest market by far. I, along with my family, have relocated to the US to create our base here, and in order to ensure to win the trust and confidence of our customers.
Right. So just one final question before we close this chat. I mentioned in the beginning of the show, in fact, beginning of this segment, that you have client contracts worth $100 million. How are you going to be sustaining those client contracts?
So the good part of this business is that you can get long-term contracts, you can get long-term demand. And that's what we've been able to get from our customers. So what we've been able to get based on our performance, we've been able to sign long-term contracts with them. We have created long-term, committed, dedicated capacities for our customers. We already have 4 to 5 customers on board. All of them I can't disclose for confidential reasons. But we have, anywhere between 5 and 10-year contracts with our customers, which allows us a very stable demand flow, which allows us to plan ourselves, which ensures that the survivability of the Jeh Aerospace is no longer the challenge, as long as we continue to deliver them on time and on quality.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for taking the time out and speaking to us here on ET Now about Jeh Aerospace and, of course, about the overall aerospace manufacturing industry and how you are seeing your growth in this spectrum and in this aerospace sector. Thank you very much once again for taking the time out and speaking to us here on ET Now. Congratulations once again on the $11 million of funding for a startup that only started in 2022.